Peace. I hope all is well in your universe. My name is Garth Harvey. I am the Mirror Lifestyle Pyramid Creator. I just wanted to take a few moments to expound upon some conversation that's been going on Facebook recently with Paul Moreland's Law of 44. Fascinating concept. That's his brainchild, and I appreciate him being daring enough to actually put forth, his perspective. Nonetheless, what I wanted to do in analyzing and looking at Paul Moreland's Law of 44, well, actually, the first time I saw it, it actually sparked a face. A face came to me when I first heard him going in on the Law of 44. And this face was the octahedron. Octahedron is one of the plutonic solids. You can do a Google search, so you can put the image to it, so you, as I go along, you can refer to it if you don't know what the shape looks like offhand. I'll just briefly describe it. It is a pyramid 2 times, basically meaning you take 2 pyramids and you fuse them together at the base, giving you an 8-sided pyramid. 4 on the top, 4 sides on the top, 4 sides on the bottom. Now, this is very important for us to understand. Why is it important? And why do I relate it to the Law of 44? Well, a couple things. First and foremost, we must understand that an octahedron and all geometric shapes are based on the 7 liberal arts. Well, actually, the 7 liberal arts are based on shape. But nonetheless, let's go there. What do I mean? Let's break down the foundation of what a pyramid is. The foundation of a pyramid is a triangle. There are 4 triangles. Now, breaking down the 7 liberal arts, they're broken down into 3 factions. Well, not 3 factions, but to 2 factions. One is known as a trivium. The other one is known as the quadrivium. The trivium is grammar, logic, and rhetoric. That is your triangle. So you have the 3 grammar, logic, and rhetoric fused 4 times. They come together to form that pyramid. So that's important. So you have 4 triangles, grammar, logic, and rhetoric, 4 times to create this pyramid. The 4 is actually the shape that the base is, which is a square. Now, that's representative of arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. So again, I want to repeat. The triangles represent grammar, logic, and rhetoric. The square base represents arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. So it's very important to understand the 7 liberal arts that have taken place here in terms of the magic of what a pyramid is. Now you take 2 pyramids and you fuse them together at the base, you get this octahedron, which is a 8-sided geometry, actually camouflaging what the geometry, the arithmetic, the music, and the astronomy. We don't see it because it's fused together at the base. It's a beautiful magic, a beautiful science. So that's the first aspect now. So now we understand when Paul says, hey, this is the Law of 44, we have to consider all of the 7 liberal arts. The grammar, logic, rhetoric, arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. We have to consider all of that when we are looking at a specific event. And now we can attach the actual physical geometry of an octahedron to it, which I think, at least for me, it helps me put a face to the geometry being utilized to move information based on those 7 principles. But it doesn't stop there. The octahedron is also a representative of ear. if this is true. If what history says is true, and that specific shape represents air, then we have to look at it a little bit closely from this perspective. After everything I just said in terms of the seven liberal arts that's being applied, they say the shape is representative of air, and air is representative of our ability to animate and move. And the key component for our movement is oxygen. So when we see an event, like if Paul puts forth an article detailing the law of 44, so now we see a specific event, and it's a catastrophic one, we have to ask ourselves when we see that, people dying, carbon emissions, food, animals dying, more carbon emissions adding to the current atmosphere, what it appears to be is a balancing of an ecosystem. So now when we see the law of 44, we have to think the liberal arts and also environmental conditions in terms of balancing of the ecosystem. Then this goes for if Paul brings forth a story that you see 44 in regards to fracking, you know what I mean? Then you have to understand that's balancing of the ecosystem. Then the next question that we need to think about, after we've gone through those two first, okay, we know the balance of the ecosystem. The third question we should ask ourselves is, what organism will best survive? Because again, as much things that most of us will look at and find destructive, we always have to think that the actual environment and reality being created is for the benefit of a specific kind of organism or organisms that will flourish in that particular paradigm. So those are things that we always constantly, at least for myself, let me just speak for myself, those are the things that I currently or constantly think about when I see specific things, whether it's the law of 44 or when I'm actually applying what I call the Mer language or the Mer philosophy, the language of the beloved, towards anything, you know what I mean, that I'm looking at. So it's important, or at least I thought it was important for me to share this specific ideology that I have, and add an addendum to what Paul Moreland is doing as he constantly feeds us the law of 44 and how the law of 44 is just everywhere. It's a dynamic law, and now we have a face to it. Now for the law of 4, which also has been a topic as well too, the law of 4 actually deals with the tetrahedron. The tetrahedron I know is different than the octahedron because we're dealing with just triangles. 3 triangles creating 4 triangular shapes. I'll say it again. 3 triangles creating 4 triangular shapes. This particular geometry is steeped in grammar, logic, and rhetoric. So that's how the energy is moving, with grammar, logic, and rhetoric. Now I know what you're asking. Well, is the 7 liberal arts a part of this, inside of this, because there's only triangles? It actually is. Because when you're dealing with grammar, logic, and rhetoric, that movement of the tetrahedron is in the process, of transformation. It is moving towards the arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy of whatever it's attempting to create. So the tetrahedron is steeped in the logic, grammar, and rhetoric in the process of creating the dynamic of arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. Let me say that again. Arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy. So it's important for us to understand the movement of the tetrahedron, which deals with the law of four and the creation of your entire reality. Law 44 shows us the movement within our reality. It's the shape designated to create and move within our reality. Create all of those who deal with the oxygen, or animals of all sort, including humans, when I say animals, and plants. So it's important for us to understand this particular philosophy when it comes to the law 4 and the law 44. But nonetheless, I'm going to leave it here. If you have any questions, please feel free to dialogue on this post or shoot me an email. You can visit me at amazingorganitepyramids.com. That's amazing, ORGANITE, pyramids.com. You can visit me there, shoot me an email there, or just shoot me here on the post here. If you're viewing this on Facebook, not on Facebook, but YouTube or Twitter, you can visit me at Facebook, / Garth Harvey, and shoot any questions that you may have, and let's dialogue, man. This is interesting dialogue. I love it, and I want to thank Paul Moreland for putting forth such an interesting and fascinating concept, and bringing forth that information for people to feed on. Peace.